Afternoon, British Championships here at Birmingham. I'm with the main man, Liam Phillips, currently back from his world title win, World Championships in 2013. Now, I'm going to have a little chat with Liam and see what we can get out of him in the way of information for all you people out there. Now, first thing I want to do, Liam, is congratulate you on your World Championship.
Thank you very much.
Well done. Now, went to the Olympics. The whole nation had high hopes for you to do well. Obviously, you did yourself. Spent a lot of time preparing for the event. Tell us a little bit about the disappointment after the final event. The race didn't quite go for you how you wanted it to go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was disappointed for sure, but probably not as disappointed as people would assume. I think because it's BMX at the end of the day, and there's so many things that can happen during a race, and I've raced for so long that I've been on the winning side of the fence, and I've also suffered disappointment. To actually get to the Olympics in the shape that I was in, I think was a huge achievement. I think that I still went there and was capable of winning an Olympic medal. So I think that says a lot about the team that I've got around me, Brits cycling, and I think my hunger really to go there and do the best I can. So there was disappointment. If I could race the race tomorrow, I would for sure, because I think more than anything I just loved the whole experience. It was everything that I thought it would be, and I've got another couple of years to get some work done, and I want to continue winning races, and I'd love to retain the rainbow jersey, but everything is geared towards Rio really. So at that point we'll be a strong enough nation to qualify not just one place at the Olympics. We want to qualify 2 or 3 riders, and have a team that are able to go there and be really competitive.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because we've got great amount of talent in our academy coming through. Now, how much of an influence do you have on their education, reach the level that you're at the moment, and compete at the highest level on the world stage?
I think a huge amount, but it's something that I embrace that, and I want our group of athletes to be the best in the world, and we learn things. I do things different, day to day, week to week, year to year, and we learn from that, and everything that I've done over the last 4 or 5 years is it's filtered down to certainly to the academy guys, and I think that we all learn off one another, and I would be naive to think that if I'm turned up to training every day in a rainbow jersey, that that's not going to have an effect on the academy guys, because that's it's a carrot that's right in front of them.
You're where you are. They're kind of your understudies, if you like. Now, do you train alongside them? Do you have a bespoke program which is specifically designed for yourself, or do you all muck in and it's one big party with a common goal?
My program is designed specifically for me.
Yep.
But then, that's the same with all the athletes. Everybody's program is designed specifically for that athlete, and everybody's got strengths, everybody's got weaknesses. So overall, it's about trying to improve those weak areas. But at the same time, we all train together, and we're all striving towards the same thing, and that's Olympic success. Like, I wouldn't for 1 minute want anybody to think that I don't learn off of my understudies, because
every day's a learning day.
Some of those guys can ride a bike. Well, all of them can ride a bike exceptionally well. I'm just fortunate that I've had a few years of the physical side of things to develop, and I'm at a stage now where I'm quite a lot stronger and more powerful than they are, and you can see that
in the first 2-3 strokes.
Exactly. But that will come, and when that does come, they're so good on their bike that they'll be handing it to me then, and that's when I'll have to worry.
You can see that on the track. The difference appears to be horsepower. And there's no substitute for time.
No.
There's no shortcuts that can be taken to produce that.
No.
So it's a question of just constant endeavour to develop the strength that you need. And once the riding skills are already in place, then it's just a question of bolting on the turbo and away we go.
That's exactly, I would say, certainly say, Trey, Kyle and Curtis are certainly they've got their bike skills are way better than mine for sure.
The man said that. Yeah. Okay. Unprovoked.
But at the same time, they've all got weaknesses.
Yeah.
You know, some of them are better at one technical aspect than the others. So as an overall, you know, everybody's got areas to work on, and you know, I'm no different to that. I think that, you know, I need to be better on my bike. You know, I know that. So yeah, it's exciting really to be in a group where, you know, one person's strength is another person's weakness, and I think that does nothing but raise the group as an overall. Yeah.
So what you're saying, there needs to be a fine balance of a high level of all skills to become as close to that perfect rider as possible.
There isn't a perfect rider. You know, in my opinion, there's not. I mean, you know, everybody's got weaknesses. I've got weaknesses. You know, the best guys in the world have got weaknesses, but it's about, to me, creating as close and perfect package as possible, and you know, being, you know, a 9 out of 10 across the board is far better than being a 10 out of 10 in, you know, 3 out of 5 areas. I was never in a position where I could see, you know, we've got a timing system at the indoor that, you know, goes down to thousandths of a second. They know how fast they need to get to the bottom of the start ramp. They know how fast they need to get into turn 1, turn 2. You know, they know these times. So not only have they got somebody that is there in a training aspect doing it every day, they've also got the data that backs it up.
Yep.
I don't think there's any other country in the world that's got the facilities that we've got, and you know, with the athletes that we've got, they're dedicated enough to go out there and make it happen. So it's exciting.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that brings me nicely onto my next question that I've been hiding down here. Facilities. Now, obviously you've heard of the new Peckham track in Burgess Park in South London.
Yeah.
Now, Peckham as a club have produced some of the best riders, the best talents in the country.
Yeah.
Without facilities. We very often hear so much about if you have the desire, if you have the drive. A bit of the Rocky syndrome, you know, raw eggs, milk, up early in the morning, rain or shine. If you're prepared to go that deep, how important is the best equipment, the best knowledge, the best facilities?
Yeah.
How much of an influence does a top class facility actually play?
More than anything, the hunger and the desire to be the best in the world or the best in the country, you know, there's no substitute for that. That's more important than anything. It's one thing about being the best in the UK, and it's about taking that to the next level and being the best in Europe and the best in the world. And personally, I think that without the facilities, it's very, very hard to do that. So I think that, you know, Peckham as a club, they've been fantastic. They've managed to get to a level where their athletes are the best in the UK, but now it's a case of going and being, you know, the best in, you know, best in Europe, best in the world. So we need facilities like Burgess Park.
Do you honestly believe that the tracks we do our training on and our racing, you know, regional, national standard, do you think that the level needs to be raised in order to compete on a world stage?
Over the last Olympic cycle from Beijing to London, I think that there was a natural change in our facilities anyway. I think that the facilities are 10 times better now than they used to be.
Yeah.
There are enough good tracks to serve the athletes that we've got in the UK. So tracks are plenty good enough to develop the skills, certainly for the kids, up until they get to sort of 14, 15 years old. And then, you know, Manchester's got, you know, the only permanent indoor BMX facility in the world with a supercross ramp and everything that's needed. I'm proof that, you know, with those facilities you can go and win a world championship. If we didn't have those facilities, I wouldn't be world champions. So I think that the facilities we've got are great up until, you know, a certain age, but people need to make use of the facilities at Manchester. It's, you know, it's world class. So
use it or lose it, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. We often see lots of video cameras around, and I've been fortunate enough to be around when you've been training at Manchester and notice that every move is recorded and documented to analyse what you're doing, etc., etc. Now, everything happens so quickly in a race, and I don't know about you, but I know when I get to the end of a race, it's like, well, I can remember coming out the gate and I can remember crossing the line. You know, but what went on in between, I don't know. And very often people describe a race, and what they say that they think happened, when you look back on the video, absolute total opposite. how important is video analysis to not only an athlete like yourself, but in general?
It's huge. Certainly when you're dealing with kids, it's so, like, to try and actually get them to comprehend what you're trying to get them to achieve. Talking is one thing, but if they actually see it, it's like they can see the mistakes that they're making or whatever. So I think that it's massive. Since we've been working with Grant, really, it's been that's been something that he's implemented for a long time. So you're looking for such small gains that you have to use video, otherwise it's impossible to track. From a personal point of view, and from like the academy guys, they love watching footage, and like same as me, I thoroughly enjoy going back and watching several starts of a session, or because that, to me, that's how you learn. That's where you find those gains.
Or is that just a bit of vanity?
Potentially, but I think you certainly don't just leave the track and then forget about it. You take it home with you, and what you do on a day-to-day basis has such a big impact on your training and then your overall performance that that's just a small part of what goes into what you see on the track.
Your career will eventually come to an end.
No, it won't. It won't.
Well, racing will have to come to an end at some point.
Yeah.
What's next for LP65? Are we looking at maybe your own team? Are you looking at going into coaching? Maybe even getting back on a cruiser?
Definitely not on a cruiser. No, but I really don't know. I mean, I'm a firm believer that things sort themselves out, really, and I'm not sure about running a team. I mean, I'd love to still be involved with BMX and support BMX because that's certainly a passion, but whether it's going into another form of cycling or going into coaching or working with athletes on a more commercial and sponsorship side of things, I have no idea. I like my cooking. Maybe I could somehow get a deal about doing a cooking program or something. I'd love that.
You say that you like your cooking. Is that you like your cooking or you like to cook?
No, I like to cook.
Oh right,
to cook.
Does anybody else like your cooking?
Yeah, they do. I have a few guys around, quite handy in the kitchen. So I'd love to. It'd be pretty cool. Or maybe, I don't know, open a cafe or something. I don't know, who knows?
So there you have it, the inside scoop with Liam Phillips here at the British Championships. Time for the man to prepare for his races. So one last thing to say is, thanks very much for that.
Thank you, thanks.
Race day video in the house, we got you covered.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, thanks.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
I'm going to cut there. If there's anything that I ask you that you may need a little bit of time to think about or whatever, then just say so. And,
okay.
And
I won't do.
No. You sure?
Yeah,
I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go deep. Okay. What colour knickers do you wear? You see?